The origins of our Day of Giving activity come from our parent company, TELUS in Canada. And one of the many, I think, differentiators, one of the strengths of TELUS is a philosophy that underscores everything we do. It starts with this belief that if we're going to do well in business, we have to do good in the community where our team members work and live. And I think it's a recognition that there's a symbiotic relationship between the company and the community, because our team members live in these communities where we operate. And if the communities are unhealthy, sooner or later, the talent in that community will leave. And that will compromise our company's ability to access the right talent that we need to deliver great service to our customers. So in recognition of this symbiotic relationship, we believe we have to make investments. We have to give back to these same communities. And Canada, I think, enjoys a higher standard of living compared to many countries around the world. It's not that there are not people living in poverty, but there are certainly fewer people than in many of the other countries where we operate. The levels of poverty, the pervasiveness of the poverty are far more extreme in many of the emerging economies in third world countries where TELUS International operates. And interestingly, it creates an even bigger opportunity to bring that philosophy, we give where we live, to life and to amplify the impact that it has on the communities that are the recipient of our efforts and on our team members, who I think in many cases the notion of volunteerism is relatively nascent. I don't think there's a lot of experience in these countries participating in these kinds of events. And I don't think it's a criticism, I think it's a legitimate observation. If you're living in a country that has only recently found democracy, I think you have a legitimate priority, which is feeding and clothing your family, getting an education. Thinking about giving back to people less fortunate, I think is sort of phase 2, phase 3 of civilization to some extent. And so we're providing meaningful employment, rewarding employment, career development opportunities. And very quickly, our employees here in Romania and Bulgaria, Guatemala, El Salvador, the Philippines, for example, they all of a sudden embrace the notion of giving back to those less fortunate, because indeed they have now quickly become members of the middle class. They have disposable income. They're buying cars, they're buying homes. All of a sudden they can afford to be more generous. That dynamic, that evolution, that transformation in the community creates greater opportunity for our business success, because now it means the community is more likely to be rich with talent. So it's like going fishing. If the oceans are healthy and robust, there's lots of fish to catch. If you're starving the oceans, if you're polluting the oceans, there are very few fish available to catch. The main driver behind our coming to Romania in the first place was to access people who speak French. TELUS, our parent company in Canada, our largest customer, serves Canadians across the country. And the province of Quebec has French language as its primary spoken language. And we were looking to provide incremental French language support for TELUS's customers in Quebec. Many of our competitors are opening up call centers in Madagascar, Mauritius, Algeria, Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, Vietnam, lots of other countries in the world that have a French-speaking population. Those countries, for now, in my view, represent perhaps the next frontier from a wage rate perspective. Most of my competitors are focused, almost preoccupied with cost, to keep their cost as low as possible. TELUS International's business philosophy has never been that. There's this expression that I use, cheap and cheerful. I think our competitors focus on cheap and cheerful. That's never been our approach. We want to provide the best possible service, and we recognize that if you're going to have service excellence as your value proposition, you have to have the most highly skilled, highly trained, highly engaged team members. And if you're only focusing on paying as little as possible, you are inviting lower degrees of proficiency, higher degrees of attrition, lower degrees of tenure, and ultimately a lower level of service. Delivering the best service first to TELUS was the origin of our business, and now delivering the best possible service to all of our customers is our objective. From a French language delivery capability, we found not only do Romanians speak French, in fact, I think there's 20 million plus Romanians, almost 4.5 million of them speak French fluently. In addition to that, highly educated, highly motivated, ambitious, intelligent, thoughtful, caring. So we don't just get French language support, we get all of these other things like gift with purchase. It has been very, very easy for us to find the talent we want that aligns with our corporate culture. And so this business, we invested September 15, 2012. We had fewer than 200 team members. And here we are 4 years later, and we have over 1,200 team members. So I think we're doing okay, but I'm always impatient. I'm dissatisfied with the status quo, as they say. I want us to go bigger, faster, farther. And so my plan is to have over 5,000 team members here. And I want to get there yesterday, as soon as possible. And so as we continue to find new customers to support, not just TELUS, but others, and not just to serve in French, but I mean, everyone I meet in this country speaks 3, 4, 5 languages, so we can serve customers from around the world. And I think there's a growing opportunity to not just provide customer care, but to support the proliferation of connected devices. The Internet of Things, I think, is the next frontier for technology, with people having smart homes, not just smartphones, smart refrigerators, a support ecosystem for installing those devices, managing those devices, billing and paying for those devices, and everything that goes along with it. Because I think there's such a strong foundation of IT affinity amongst the Romanian population, I think this is the best place for us to grow that delivery capability on behalf of our customers.
TELUS